On September 29, 2025, two teenage girls were riding e-bikes in a residential area in Cranford, New Jersey, when they were suddenly hit by a speeding black SUV seemingly out of nowhere. The crash was so loud enough to get the attention of nearby residents. People rushed to help. Unfortunately, it was already too late. The victims, identified to be Maria Neotis and Isabella Salas, were found dead by the time medical help and police arrived. What made the incident even more shocking was how violent it was. Investigations revealed the car was going at over 70 miles per hour in a neighborhood with a speed limit of just 25 miles per hour. The driver tried to drive away immediately after the incident was so violent that he was forced to ditch the car and get away on foot. This allowed investigators to run the license plate and trace the car back to its driver. 17-year-old Vincent Bataloro. Vincent was called in for questioning, but since the police didn't have any solid evidence of who was behind the wheels at the time of the incident, he was let go the same night. Vincent had a large following on YouTube. He often live-streamed, posted videos, and engaged with his followers. His content was mostly centered around his personal life, his opinions, and conflicts he claimed to have with people around him. He frequently spoke at length about feeling misunderstood and targeted by others. After the deaths of Maria Neotis and Isabella Salas, Vincent continued to go live online. In these streams, he addressed the growing attention surrounding the case and spoke about how he felt people were judging him. Rather than focusing on the crash itself, he focused on how the situation was affecting him personally. As the investigation continued, police began looking deeper into Vincent's background and his connection to the victims. According to statements from family members, Vincent had prior interactions with at least one of the girls. These interactions were described as unwanted and ongoing in the months leading up to the incident. Investigators reviewed digital records, social media activity, and witness statements to better understand the relationship between Vincent and the victims. This information became important in determining whether the crash was simply reckless or connected to earlier tensions. Police also continued analyzing physical evidence from the scene. This included damage to the vehicle, the lack of braking before impact, and the speed at which the SUV had been traveling. Based on these findings, Vincent was later arrested. Prosecutors charged him with 2 counts of first-degree murder, along with multiple additional charges related to reckless driving and leaving the scene. Because Vincent was 17 years old at the time of the incident, the case was handled within the juvenile justice system. However, the seriousness of the charges meant the legal consequences could still be severe. The case now rests with the courts, where evidence and testimony will determine responsibility. Elliot Rodger. On May 23, 2014, a 22-year-old YouTuber from Isla Vista, California, carried out a series of violent actions that resulted in multiple deaths and injuries. Rodger began his unaliving spree by stabbing 3 of his roommates at their shared apartment. 2 of the roommates survived their injuries, and 1 was killed. After the stabbings, Rodger retrieved a legally purchased handgun and left the residence. He drove to a nearby college campus where he shot and killed additional victims and wounded several others. Rodger then drove through the neighborhood of Isla Vista. While traveling, he continued shooting at people he encountered on the street. During this time, he also struck several pedestrians with his vehicle, causing further deaths and injuries. Rodger's attack continued through the immediate area until he was confronted by law enforcement. He then shot himself and died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Prior to carrying out the attack, Elliot Rodger posted a series of online writings and videos in which he articulated deep resentment and frustration toward his peers, particularly young women and men he believed had social success. He did not. These posts included a detailed manifesto in which he described his intentions and personal grievances. Investigators later used these online writings to understand his motivations. The content showed that Rodger had planned the attacks in advance and had expressed a desire to punish people he felt had wronged him socially. Manuel Ruiz. On June 8, 2025, a shooting occurred on the Las Vegas Strip near the famous Bellagio fountains. 2 content creators, Rodney Finley and his wife Tanisha Finley, were live streaming to their audience when shots were fired. Rodney Finley, 44, was known online as Finny Da Legend, and his wife Tanisha, 43, often appeared with him in his videos. Police say that 41-year-old Manuel Ruiz, also a YouTuber known as Sin City Manny, approached the couple and fired multiple shots at them while they were live streaming. Both Rodney and Tanisha Finley died at the scene from their injuries. Ruiz left the scene after the shooting, but turned himself in to Henderson police the next morning. He was taken into custody without bail. Police and investigators reported that Ruiz and Finley had a long-running online feud that dated back more than a year. The conflict included disagreements on social media and live stream platforms. According to an arrest report, Ruiz told police that he shot the Finleys in self-defense because he believed Rodney was reaching for a weapon. He also claimed he believed Tanisha had a weapon. However, police found no weapons on or near the Finleys at the scene. Video evidence and social media livestream viewers contradicted Ruiz's self-defense claim. In July 2025, a Clark County grand jury indicted Ruiz on 2 counts of murder with a deadly weapon in connection with the shooting of the Finleys. In some court filings, prosecutors indicated they may seek the death penalty because of the nature of the crime and evidence presented. As of the latest reports, Ruiz remains in custody pending further court proceedings. Trey Eric Sessler. Trey Eric Sessler, born August 3, 1989, was a YouTuber known online as Mr. Anime, before he became known for a violent crime he committed in 2012. On the 20th of March, Sessler killed his mother, father, and older brother inside their family home, an act that later became known as the Waller killings. According to police findings and court records, the attack began when Sessler lured his mother into the garage and shot her at close range with a shotgun, then moved inside the house where he shot and killed his brother, then his father. Investigators found out that Sessler had planned everything from the weapons on writings on the wall they found at the scene. After killing his family, Sessler loaded several firearms and large amounts of ammunition into his vehicle and drove to Waller High School, where he had previously been a student, and later admitted that he had intended to carry out a mass shooting inspired by past school attacks, particularly the Columbine massacre. He later told investigators that he sat in the school parking lot with the weapons, but decided not to go through with the attack because the situation felt more real than he had anticipated. Instead, he left the area and went to a friend's house, where he remained until police located and arrested him later that night following a welfare check that led officers to discover the bodies at his family home. During questioning, Sessler admitted to the killings and stated that he did not kill his family to spare them shame, as some early reports suggested, but because they were simply the first people available to him. Authorities also revealed that Sessler had a long-standing fascination with mass killers and violent ideologies, had previously killed animals, and had engaged in other dangerous behavior, although he had no formal criminal record prior to the murders. He was charged with 3 counts of capital murder, pleaded guilty in August 2012, and was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Habibur Masum. Habibur Masum was a British YouTuber who shared most of his life online and became known for committing one of the most shocking acts of domestic violence in the United Kingdom. On April 6, 2024, Masum tracked and stabbed his wife, Kulsuma Akhtar, more than 25 times in a public street in Bradford, West Yorkshire, killing her within minutes. In the months before the killing, Akhtar had left Masum because of ongoing abuse, jealousy, and controlling behavior, which made Masum even angrier at her. Masum used phone location data and threatening messages to locate her. After the fatal stabbing, Masum walked calmly away, boarded a bus, and disappeared, triggering a 3-day manhunt that ended with his arrest about 150 miles away in Aylesbury, Buckinghamshire. At first, he pleaded guilty to lesser charges, but during trial proceedings he denied murder, claiming he had intended to harm himself rather than kill his wife, and had lost control. A jury at Bradford Crown Court found him guilty not only of murder, but also of related offenses including stalking, making threats to kill, and assault, with evidence showing a pattern of obsessive behavior and attempts to monitor and control his wife. In July 2025, the judge sentenced Masum to life in prison with a minimum term of 28 years before he could be considered for parole. Lane Maurice Davis. Lane Maurice Davies joined YouTube all the way back in 2009 under the username Seattle for Truth. Most of his videos have since been deleted by YouTube for policy violation, but they were mainly about right-wing commentary and rants about current events. On July 14, 2017, while in Samish Island, Washington, Davis became involved in a violent argument with his parents about his beliefs and ideological worldview. During that dispute, he stabbed his father, Charles Chuck Davis, resulting in his death at the family home. Local police later reported the stabbing as the result of a heated dispute in which Davis accused his parents of being leftists and other conspiratorial labels. Investigators and civil rights monitors who reviewed Davis's online footprint noted that he repeatedly posted and discussed extremist claims and conspiracy theories, and that those ideas appeared to be a central part of his identity and grievances before the killing. After the stabbing, police arrested Davis, and he later entered a plea agreement in which he pleaded guilty to second-degree murder. The plea avoided a trial and resulted in a 17-year prison sentence imposed in 2018. In court, Davis expressed remorse and apologized to his family. If you enjoy these videos, make sure to subscribe